Stop scrolling. Imagine a world where insects were the size of dogs and the air itself allowed life to balloon into giants. If you want more deep-time stories like this, subscribe now and hit like so you don't miss what comes next. In 2013, a curious discovery at the Queensland Museum set the scene. Fossils so strange they read like science fiction. Meter-long scorpions, dragonflies with nearly 2-foot wingspans, colossal arthropods and swamp forests that would later become the coal fueling our machines. These remains are a doorway into Earth's early drama. Picture a planet long before dinosaurs, a single vast supercontinent under a thin atmosphere blasted by intense ultraviolet light, where life first learned to breathe and then to explode into variety. Inside oceans rich with oxygen from primitive photosynthesizers, single-celled organisms multiplied, then stitched themselves into multicellular animals, and in a geological blink, the Cambrian explosion, predators and prey appeared, body plans multiplied, and entire food chains ignited. On land, microbes, fungi, and tiny plants gradually built soils. Forests rose from peat and pressure buried their mass until, over millions of years, they became thick seams of coal. Higher atmospheric oxygen, as much as roughly 30% in some intervals, allowed respiratory systems and exoskeletons to scale up. Arthropods breathed across their skin and tracheae, so more oxygen meant larger bodies. And scientists recreated this effect in experiments where extra oxygen produced much bigger animals. But giant life proved fragile. Plate tectonics and runaway volcanism pumped sulfur and carbon into the atmosphere, triggering acid rains and a collapse of oxygen levels. Within that upheaval, up to 95% of species vanished, and the age of titans crashed into extinction. The survivors were often the small, the hidden, the flexible organisms that could endure low oxygen and sudden environmental swings. They seeded future radiations that eventually gave us the familiar trees, mammals, and, long later, humans. These fossils and geochemical clues are a reminder. Life expands and contracts with the breath of the planet. And every specimen in a museum case tells a chapter of that volatile history. If this voyage through deep time sparked your curiosity, subscribe, like, and share. Join the journey so we can explore the next impossible chapter together.